There are moments in life when everything changes. Sometimes these moments come unexpectedly. A meeting, a conversation, a thought, an event, something that catches you by surprise. And in that moment, everything is different. The day your life changes is not always something you can predict, but you can prepare for it. Let me say that again. You can prepare for the day when everything will be different. I want you to think about something. Have you ever had a moment where you realized, I'm never going back. I'm never going to live life the same way again? That's what we're talking about today. It's about that pivot point in your life. Maybe you've already had one or two of these. Or maybe it's just around the corner. Either way, the beauty of it is this. Once your life changes, once you make a real, lasting change, it's like setting off on a new path, a better path with new possibilities. I think back to one of those moments in my own life. I was 25 years old, working on a farm, broke, with pennies in my pocket and nothing to show for my efforts. I was at that point where you start wondering, is this it? Is this what life is all about? But then something happened. I had a conversation with a man named Mr. Schoaf, and that conversation changed everything. Sometimes the day your life changes starts with a mentor, someone who has what you want, someone who's been down the road you're about to travel. And Mr. Schoaf said to me, Jim, if you want things to change, you have to change. If you want your life to be different, you have to do things differently. That might sound simple, but I'm telling you, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was blaming everything outside of me for why I wasn't successful. I was blaming the economy, the government, my circumstances. But Mr. Schoaf made it clear. My life wasn't going to change until I took responsibility for it. And that's where I want to start today. The day your life changes is the day you take responsibility for where you are and where you're going. Now, some people don't like to hear that. We all like to think that our circumstances are somebody else's fault. It's easier that way, right? It's not my fault. It's the economy. It's not my fault. It's my upbringing. It's not my fault. I didn't get the right opportunities. And I understand that. I've been there. But I'm telling you, as long as you hold on to those excuses, nothing is going to change. See, here's the thing. We all start at different places. Some people start life with more advantages than others, and that's the reality of it. But what matters more than where you start is what you do with where you are. There's a great quote that says, it's not what happens to you that determines your future. It's what you do about what happens. And that's the truth. The day your life changes is the day you decide to be the driver, not the passenger. You've got to take the wheel, take control, and decide that you are going to steer your life in a new direction. The day you stop waiting for things to happen and you start making things happen, that's the day everything changes. Ask yourself, are you waiting? Are you waiting for someone to come along and change your life for you? Are you waiting for the perfect opportunity, the perfect time, the perfect conditions? Because I've got news for you. That perfect time is never going to come. If you're waiting for everything to line up before you take action, you'll be waiting forever. You've got to decide that today is the day, and you've got to work with what you have. There's another important idea here. The day your life changes is the day you start working on yourself more than you work on anything else. You see, I had this idea when I was younger that success was something you pursued. You had to go out and chase it, run it down, grab it before someone else did. But that's not how it works. Success isn't something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. I'll say it again. Success is something you attract by the person you become. So, if you want your life to change, you've got to change. You've got to start developing yourself, building your skills, expanding your mindset. It's not about waiting for the world to change so you can get ahead. It's about making yourself better so that you're ready when opportunity comes. Because it will come. The question is, will you be ready for it when it does? Now that brings me to something else. The day your life changes is also the day you decide to set real, meaningful goals. Now, I don't mean vague wishes or daydreams. I'm talking about specific, concrete goals that you write down, plan for, and work toward every day. You see, without goals, life can just drift by. You get up, go to work, come home, and repeat. But there's no direction, no purpose. In my early days, I met a man who was incredibly successful, financially, in his health, in his relationships, in every area of life. And I asked him, how did you do it? How did you create this amazing life? And he said something I'll never forget. He said, Jim, I learned a long time ago that if I didn't design my own life, someone else would design it for me. And I'm telling you, they don't have much planned for you. That was powerful for me. He was right. If you don't set your own goals, your own course, you'll end up living someone else's plan. And that's no way to live. The day your life changes is the day you take control of your own future. You decide what you want, you set a plan, and you go after it with everything you've got. Now, you might be thinking, but Jim, I've tried setting goals before and it didn't work. I didn't stick with it. And I understand that. Most people don't stick with their goals. You know why? It's because they don't have a big enough reason why. See, if your goals are just about what you want, that's not going to be enough. Your goals have to be connected to a deeper purpose. Something that moves you, something that gets you up in the morning with energy and enthusiasm. The day your life changes is the day you find your reason why. It's the day you stop being motivated by what you think you should do, and you start being driven by what you must do. A young man once came to me and said, Jim, I want to make $1 million. I asked him, why? And he said, well, because I think it would be nice to have that kind of money. Now I told him, that's not a strong enough reason. You've got to have something more. What will the money do for you? Who will you help? What kind of life will you create? Why is it a must, not just a wish? And that's the key. You've got to have a big enough reason why. Otherwise, when the challenges come, and they will come, you'll quit. The day your life changes is the day you find that deep, driving reason that keeps you going no matter what. Here's another thing that happens on the day your life changes. It's the day you stop letting fear hold you back. Fear is one of the biggest things that keeps people from changing their lives. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. But here's what I've learned. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Everything. There's a story about a man who lived his whole life afraid to step outside his comfort zone. He stayed in the same town, worked the same job, had the same friends. And one day, he realized that he'd spent his entire life playing it safe, never taking any risks. He looked back and saw all the things he could have done, but he didn't because he was too afraid. And he said, I wish I'd had the courage to live a bigger life. So, are you living a big life? Or are you playing it safe? The day your life changes is the day you decide to stop letting fear run your life. You decide that yes, you might fail. Yes, things might not work out the way you planned. But you're going to try anyway. Because the worst thing is not failing. The worst thing is never trying. The day your life changes is the day you embrace failure as part of the process. You see, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of success. Every successful person I've ever met has failed. In fact, they've probably failed more times than they've succeeded. But they didn't let failure stop them. They used it as a stepping stone, a learning experience. So, when you fail, and you will, don't see it as the end. See it as a lesson. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to get better? Have you ever met someone who's always waiting for the perfect time to take action? They say, I'll start my business when the economy is better. Or, I'll work on my health when things slow down at work. Or, I'll focus on my goals when everything in my life is just right. You know the type. Always waiting for the stars to align. But here's what I've learned. The perfect time never comes. If you wait for everything to be perfect, you'll be waiting forever. The day your life changes is the day you stop waiting and start acting. Now, why is that important? Because life doesn't wait for you to get ready. Life keeps moving. The opportunities are there, but they won't sit around waiting for you to feel prepared, to feel brave, or to feel like you've got everything figured out. Here's something that I've come to understand. Life rewards action. Not intention, not ideas, not good thoughts, but action. The day your life changes is the day you take a step forward, even if it's a small one, even if you're not entirely sure what the next 100 steps will look like. That's okay. You don't need to see the whole path to start walking. Most people are paralyzed by the need for certainty. They think, I'll start when I know how it's all going to work out. But the truth is, you'll never know exactly how it's going to work out. You have to move in faith, trusting that as you go, as you act, the path will unfold. When I first met Mr. Schoaf, I didn't know where it would lead. I had no idea that one conversation with him would change my entire future. But it did because I took the first step. I listened. I applied what I learned. So, if you've been sitting on an idea, a goal, a dream, waiting for the stars to align, this is your reminder that the stars don't need to align. What you need to do is make a decision. That's the day your life changes, when you decide to act in spite of uncertainty. You got to ask yourself, what's one thing in your life that you know you should be doing, but you've been putting off? Maybe it's a project you've been thinking about starting. Maybe it's a relationship you know you need to work on. Maybe it's your health. Whatever it is, I want you to think about what's holding you back. Is it fear? Is it a lack of clarity? Or is it that you're waiting for the perfect time? The perfect time is now. The day your life changes is the day you realize that the only time you truly have is right now. And if you waste today waiting for tomorrow, you're giving up your most valuable resource, time. Time waits for no one. So stop wasting it waiting for the perfect conditions. Get moving with what you have, and along the way, you'll figure out the rest. Here's one of the most important things about the day your life changes. It's the day you stop making excuses. I mentioned earlier that for years, I blamed everything outside of myself for why I wasn't where I wanted to be. The economy, my upbringing, my lack of connections, you name it, I blamed it. But then I had a revelation. As long as I kept blaming everything outside of me, nothing inside of me was going to change. The day your life changes is the day you stop making excuses and start taking full responsibility for your life. Now, this isn't about beating yourself up or feeling guilty. It's about empowerment. Because the moment you take responsibility for your life is the moment you realize that you have the power to change it. As long as you're blaming other people or circumstances or bad luck, you're giving away your power. You're saying, I can't change because it's out of my control. But the truth is, while you can always control what happens to you, you can always control how you respond. What's an excuse you've been holding on to? What's a story you've been telling yourself about? Why you can't succeed? Why you can't move forward? Why your life isn't where you want it to be? I want you to think about that for a moment. And then I want you to ask yourself, what if I took full responsibility for this? What if, instead of blaming outside factors, you asked yourself, what can I do to change this? What steps can I take right now? That's the shift that changes everything. When you stop looking outside of yourself and start looking inside, the day your life changes is the day you realize that no one is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. Now, that might sound harsh to some of you, but I'm here to tell you, it's the most freeing realization you can have. Because when you understand that you're responsible for your own life, it means you have the power to change it. You're not at the mercy of circumstances. You're not a victim of your environment. You are the captain of your ship. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Change is hard. Growth is hard. But I'll tell you what's harder: staying stuck. Waking up every day, knowing that you're not living up to your potential. That's hard. And the pain of regret is far greater than the pain of discipline. So if you're going to experience pain, and let's be honest, we all will at some point, choose the pain that leads to growth. Choose the pain of taking responsibility. Choose the pain of stepping outside of your comfort zone. Because that pain is temporary, but the rewards are lasting. The day your life changes, it's the day you stop comparing yourself to others. Now, this one is big. Too many people get caught up in what everyone else is doing. They look at someone else's success, someone else's journey, and they start feeling inadequate. They start feeling like they're behind. But I'm telling you, you are on your own path. Your journey is your journey, and it's not supposed to look like anyone else's. The day your life changes is the day you stop measuring your progress against other people's lives and start focusing on your own growth. I'm telling you why this is important. When you compare yourself to others, you're always going to feel like you're lacking in some way. You'll always find someone who's doing better than you in some area of life. But what you don't see is their struggle. What you don't see is the hard work, the failures, the setbacks that they've had to overcome to get where they are. And even if they are ahead in some ways, so what? That has nothing to do with you. Here's a truth I've come to learn. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person you were yesterday. The day your life changes is the day you decide that your competition is not the person next to you. It's the person you see in the mirror. If you can focus on being better today than you were yesterday, and better tomorrow than you are today, you're winning. Where have you been comparing yourself to others? And how has that been holding you back? What would happen if you focused all that energy on your own progress instead? You see, comparison is the thief of joy. It robs you of the satisfaction of your own journey. But when you focus on your own growth, when you measure your progress against yourself, that's when real fulfillment happens. Stop chasing success and start focusing on contribution. Now, I know this might sound counterintuitive, especially in a world that's always telling us to go after success, to chase our dreams. But here's the thing. Success, real success, isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by the person you become and by the value you provide to others. The day your life changes is the day you realize that it's not just about you. It's about what you can give. It's about how you can serve. Because here's the truth. The more value you bring to the marketplace, the more successful you'll become. The more you contribute to the lives of others, the more your own life will improve. I'm telling you, some of the most successful people I know are the ones who have shifted their focus from how can I get more to how can I give more. They understand that their success is a byproduct of their contribution. And the day your life changes is the day you start thinking the same way. When you stop asking, what's in it for me? And start asking, how can I make a difference? That's when real success, real fulfillment starts to flow into your life. Years ago, I met a man who built a successful business. He started out focused on making money, and while he did okay, he wasn't truly thriving. Then one day, he had a shift in his thinking. He realized that if he wanted to grow his business, he needed to focus on providing more value to his customers. He stopped worrying so much about his bottom line and started asking himself, how can I serve my customers better? How can I help them solve their problems? The result? His business exploded. Why? Because when you provide value, people respond. When you focus on serving, success follows. So, where in your life can you contribute more? Where can you bring more value to others? Maybe it's in your business. Maybe it's in your relationships. Maybe it's in your community. Whatever it is, the day your life changes is the day you shift your focus from getting to giving. And here's something else that happens on that day. The day your life changes is the day you start focusing on what you can control and you stop worrying about what you can't. So many people spend their energy stressing over things they have no control over. The weather, the economy, other people's opinions. None of that is within your control. But what is within your control is how you respond. What is within your control is your effort, your attitude, your choices. The day your life changes is the day you stop wasting energy on things you can't change and start focusing on what you can do. You can't control the economy, but you can control how much value you bring to the marketplace. You can't control what other people think of you, but you can control how much effort you put into becoming the best version of yourself. Tell me, what's something in your life that you've been stressing over, but that's outside of your control? What would happen if you let go of that stress and focused on what you can do right now with what you have? That's a powerful shift. And when you make it, your whole perspective changes. The day your life changes is the day you realize that most of life is about perspective. It's about how you choose to see things. You can choose to see challenges as obstacles, or you can choose to see them as opportunities for growth. You can choose to see setbacks as failures, or you can choose to see them as lessons. You can choose to see life as something happening to you, or you can choose to see it as something happening for you. That shift in perspective, that's when everything changes. Because when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. How are you seeing your life right now? Are you seeing it through the lens of limitation, or are you seeing it through the lens of possibility? The day your life changes is the day you choose to see your life as a series of opportunities waiting for you to step into. And let me leave you with this. The day your life changes is not a one-time event. It's a decision you make every single day. Every day you have the choice to act, to grow, to take responsibility, to contribute, to be better than you were yesterday. Every day you can choose to make today the day your life changes. So, what will you choose today?
Stop. Before you say another word to yourself, hear this. Your voice is not background noise. It is a command center. Every I can't becomes a cage. Every I will becomes a key. If the world you wake up to feels heavy, it's not because life is against you. It's because your inner narrator has been whispering limits and your mind has been obeying. Today, we flip the switch. From this moment on, you don't wish, you command. You don't hope someday. You decide today. You don't speak like a beggar asking. You speak like a builder, creating. Imagine your mind as a broadcasting station. Every thought is a signal. Every word is a frequency. Tuned to fear and you attract delay. Distraction and doubt, tuned to certainty, and you draw in people, chances, and doors that open. Here's the rule for this entire journey. Words are not wishes. Words are orders. Say it with me clearly, calmly, like law. I am not my old story. I am the author now. I speak power. I build power. I live in power. You are about to learn how to speak to yourself so the future can hear you coming, how to charge your words with emotion so belief hardens, how to repeat with rhythm so your subconscious accepts, how to speak from identity, I am, until your actions match your voice. This is not hype. It's a system. Short lines, clear questions, daily repetition. A voice your mind can follow even on tired days. So breathe in, drop your shoulders, let the doubt exit with your exhale. Now, give your destiny its first order. I am destined for greatness. I am unstoppably. I command my life to rise. Ready. Let's turn your voice into victory. Every human being walks with a voice inside. Sometimes it is loud, sometimes quiet, but it never stops speaking. That voice is not just commentary, it is command. The way you speak to yourself writes the script of your future. And here is the truth. Your outer life can never rise above the level of your inner conversation. Think about it. The athlete who breaks records doesn't begin by doubting himself in the mirror. He repeats, I am strong. I am fast. I am ready. The entrepreneur who builds empires doesn't tell herself, I don't know if I can. She programs her mind daily. I create value. I attract opportunity. I deserve success. These words are not empty. They are the blueprint. Napoleon Hill called this process autosuggestion, feeding your subconscious with words so charged with belief and emotion that they become reality. Modern science confirms it. Your brain doesn't just hear words, it builds neural pathways from them. Speak weakness, and your brain wires you for hesitation. Speak strength, and your brain wires you for courage. Here's the law. Plain and simple. The words you speak to yourself become the instructions your subconscious obeys. Why self-talk shapes your destiny. Your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between a truth and a lie. It only responds to repetition and emotion. If you say, I can't often enough, your subconscious accepts it and blocks the very creativity you need to solve problems. If you say, I will, with conviction, your subconscious scans your environment, pulls in resources, and drives your behavior toward making it happen. This is why people stay stuck for years, not because they lack potential, but because their inner voice keeps reinforcing limitation. The most dangerous prison is not bars of steel. It is sentences of self-doubt. The inner contract. Every sentence you repeat is like signing a contract with your future. Say, I'm always broke. And you sign a contract for poverty. Say, nothing good ever happens to me. And you sign a contract for disappointment. Say, I attract opportunities every day. And you sign a contract for abundance. You may not see the result immediately. But remember, words are seeds. What you plant in your mind today, you harvest tomorrow. The harvest is delayed, but it is certain. Why most people fail? Most people treat self-talk as random noise. They allow frustration, fear, or comparison to dictate their words. They look at their bills and say, I'll never get out of this. They face failure and say, I'm not good enough. They hit obstacles and declare, this is impossible. And because they declare it, it becomes real. They do not realize that every word spoken with emotion is a command. Doute become poison. Negativity becomes a virus. The subconscious is always listening, always obeying. How to take control. So how do you turn this around? You begin by becoming aware. Awareness is step one. Stop yourself mid-sentence when you hear negative phrases. I can't, I'll never, I'm not enough. Replace them immediately with a statement of power. I can, I will, I am becoming. It will feel unnatural at first because your old programming resists change, but repetition is stronger than resistance. Every time you replace a weak word with a strong one, you lay down a new track in your brain over days and weeks. That track becomes the highway your thoughts travel, the law in action. Let's imagine two people starting the same journey. Both want to build financial freedom. One wakes up and says, it's too hard. I'm unlucky. The system is against me. His subconscious accepts it. He drags through the day, misses opportunities, and eventually proves himself right. The other wakes up and says, I am disciplined. I create value. Money flows to me through my service. Her subconscious accepts it. She takes bold action, sees possibilities where others see problems, and little by little, she builds her freedom. Both had the same external world. Their inner words built two different futures. Speak as if you already are. The most powerful shift you can make is to speak as if the outcome is already real. Don't say, I will be confident. Say, I am confident. Don't say, I will someday be successful. Say, I am successful now. Why? Because your subconscious responds to identity, not intention. When you speak in present tense, you pull the future into the now, and your actions rise to meet it. Command. Don't beg. Here's the difference between average people and achievers. Average people beg life to change. Achievers command life to change. Your voice must sound like law, not like a request. Speak with authority. Speak with conviction. Speak until your own ears believe you. Practice for today, right now. Choose 3 sentences and repeat them out loud with energy. 1, I am worthy of success. 2, I create opportunities every day. 3, I persist until I prevail. Say them 5 times each. Hear your own voice. Feel the shift. This is not silly. This is science. Every repetition is programming your subconscious. Every word is a seed. Your life is not driven by luck or chance. It is driven by the voice you obey most often. The question is, do you obey the voice of fear? Or do you obey the voice of faith? The law is clear. Your voice creates your reality. Guard it. Direct it. Command it. Every structure you see in the world, every bridge, every skyscraper, every invention began as an idea spoken into existence. Before the first brick was laid, before the first machine was built, someone said, it can be done. And then, because the words gave life to belief, actions followed. But words don't only build, they also destroy. A single sentence, repeated with enough conviction, can either erect a palace in your future or burn down the foundation of your dreams. That's why the way you speak to yourself is never neutral. It is either construction or demolition. The building power of words. Consider the phrase, I am capable. At first, it may sound like 3 simple words, but say it out loud with conviction, and something shifts inside you. Your shoulders rise, your chest opens. Your mind begins scanning for evidence to support that claim. Now imagine repeating that every morning for 30 days. What happens? Your subconscious begins to search for ways to prove you right. It nudges you toward opportunities. It whispers, try again when you want to quit. It plants courage where fear once lived. Your words become blueprints, just as an architect draws lines that builders follow. Your words draw lines in your mind that your actions unconsciously follow. The destructive power of words. But the reverse is just as true. Say, I can't do this. And your subconscious will also search for evidence. It will find excuses, point out obstacles, and magnify failures until you surrender. Every time you say, I'm not good enough, you're tearing down the very scaffolding of belief that could have lifted you higher. The tragedy is that most people don't realize how often they swing the wrecking ball on their own future. They casually mutter words like, I'm broke, I'm unlucky, nothing ever works out for me. Not realizing they're programming their mind to expect and accept that reality. Words destroy silently. like termites in the foundation. You may not see the damage immediately, but over time, the structure of your belief collapses. And when belief collapses, success crumbles with it. The neutral myth. Some people think their words don't matter. They believe saying, "I'm tired of this job," or "I'll never find love," is just venting, but your subconscious doesn't know the difference between venting and vision. It accepts everything as instruction. Every word carries weight. Every sentence either sets a brick or removes one. There is no such thing as neutral self-talk. The blueprint of greatness history proves it. Great leaders, inventors, and visionaries were not just people of ideas, they were people of declarations. Thomas Edison said, "I will find the light." Henry Ford declared, "I will build a car for the masses." Nelson Mandela repeated, "Freedom will be reality." These weren't just thoughts, they were verbal blueprints that mobilized the subconscious, attracted allies, and fueled persistence. Now compare that to the voices of defeat that fill the air every day. It's too late. It's too hard. Who am I to try? Those words become cages. They lock people inside small lives, not because the world denied them, but because their own tongue did. The test of words. Here's a challenge. Over the next 24 hours, write down every negative phrase you catch yourself saying, "I can't handle this. I'm so stressed. I don't know what to do." Then next to each one, write a new construction. Replace "I can't" with "I will find a way." Replace "I'm stressed" with "I am learning to grow stronger." Replace "I don't know" with "I am open to answers." When you do this, you'll see in black and white just how much destruction your own words were creating. And you'll also see how quickly you can rebuild by choosing different language. Speak in present tense to build with words. You must also use the language of the present. Don't say, "I will one day succeed." That pushes success away into an undefined future. Say, instead, "I am succeeding now," because when you declare in the present tense, that your subconscious believes it is already real and begins to align your actions accordingly. Think of it this way. Your subconscious mind is like a loyal builder. It doesn't question your instructions. It simply works day and night to fulfill them. If you give it vague commands, it produces vague results. If you give it powerful, present tense commands, it builds powerful present results. Identity over hope. Another key your words must reflect. Identity. Not just desire. Saying, "I hope to be disciplined," is weak. Saying, "I am disciplined," is powerful. Why? Because identity drives behavior when you speak as if you already are the person you want to become. Your subconscious aligns your choices, habits, and mindset to match. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you declare yourself to be. Your words are not cheap. They are bricks. Each one builds or destroys. Speak carelessly, and you may be living inside the ruins of your own sentences. Speak intentionally, and you will find yourself walking daily through the architecture of your dreams. So choose carefully. Every phrase is a hammer. Every declaration is a wall. Build wisely, because the house you live in tomorrow is being spoken by your tongue today. Words by themselves are like sparks. They hold potential, but without fuel, they die out quickly. What gives words their true power is emotion, the fire that transforms a spark into a blazing flame. Think about it. You can say, I am strong, in a flat, lifeless tone, and nothing changes. But when you say it with passion, with conviction that vibrates through your chest, you feel the surge immediately. Your body responds. Your mind awakens. Your spirit ignites. Emotion is the amplifier of words. Without it, your declarations are whispers. With it, they become commands that life cannot ignore. Why emotion matters. The subconscious mind is not logical, it is emotional. It doesn't respond to empty statements. It responds to feeling. When you inject emotion into your words, your subconscious believes them as truth and begins to shape reality to match. That's why people who repeat affirmations without feeling often fail. They recite lines like a robot. I am successful. I am confident. I am powerful. But there's no fire, no energy, no belief. The words bounce off the mind instead of sinking in. Emotion is what carves the words into stone. It's the difference between writing with chalk on a sidewalk and engraving with a hammer and chisel. One fades with the rain, the other lasts for generations. How to add emotion. So how do you inject emotion into your self-talk? Visualize vividly. See yourself living the words you speak. Paint the picture in your mind until it feels real. Engage your body. Speak with posture. Stand tall. Use your hands. Feel the energy as you declare your truth. Raise your voice, not in anger, but in power. Volume carries emotion. Speak loudly enough that your own ears believe you. Repeat until you feel it. Sometimes emotion doesn't arrive immediately, but if you repeat with intention, the feeling grows stronger with every declaration. The warning about negative emotion. But remember, emotion is neutral fuel. It doesn't care whether it powers positive or negative words. Say, I am worthless with strong emotion. And your subconscious will believe that too. That's why anger, self-hatred, and despair are so dangerous. They are emotionally charged commands. Negative emotion attached to negative words is like pouring gasoline on the wrong fire. It burns down your dreams instead of building them. Guard your emotions the way a soldier guards the gates of a fortress. Never allow destructive words to pass through with passion. Never allow your voice to carry defeat with conviction. Emotion turns desire into fire. Desire without emotion is a wish. Desire with emotion becomes a burning obsession. And burning obsession is the force behind every great achievement in history. Think of Martin Luther King Jr. standing in front of thousands, declaring, I have a dream. It wasn't just the words, it was the passion behind them that moved a nation. Think of Winston Churchill during the darkest days of war. We shall never surrender. The emotion in his voice carried strength into millions of weary hearts. And think of your own journey. You don't just need affirmations. You need declarations fueled with fire. Words spoken so passionately that your mind and body and destiny cannot help but obey. Practical exercise. Here's a simple practice. Every morning, stand in front of the mirror. Take 3 deep breaths. Look yourself in the eyes and declare 3 truths. 1, I am powerful. 2, I am unstoppably. 3, I attract success. Say each one loudly. Say it with energy. Say it until your chest vibrates with conviction. If you don't feel it at first, keep going. The emotion will come, and when it does, you will feel the shift instantly. Emotion is the soul of words. Without it, your declarations are lifeless. With it, they are unstoppable. So don't just speak your desires, ignite them. Speak with fire. Speak with passion. Speak with authority. Because when your words carry emotion, the universe has no choice but to listen. Repetition is the master tool that carves beliefs into the stone of your subconscious. One powerful declaration may light a spark, but only through repetition does that spark grow into an unshakable fire. Think of your subconscious mind as fertile soil. Every word you speak is a seed, but one seed, planted and ignored, does not grow. It withers. Only through repeated planting, watering, and nurturing does the seed take root and bloom into something unmovable. The power of consistency. Most people fail not because they lack talent, intelligence, or even opportunity, but because they lack consistency. They say an affirmation once and expect a miracle. But miracles don't come to the casual, they come to the committed. Repetition is what convinces your subconscious that you mean business. Each time you repeat a command, I am powerful, I am unstoppable, I am destined for success, you press the truth deeper into your identity. It's like striking a chisel against stone. One strike leaves a mark. 1,000 strikes carves a masterpiece. Why repetition works? Your subconscious doesn't learn through logic. It learns through habit. Just as a child learns the alphabet by repeating it day after day, your subconscious learns who you are by hearing it again and again. That's why habits are so powerful. They are nothing more than repeated actions performed until they become automatic. The same is true with self-talk. Repeat a thought enough times and it becomes belief. Repeat a belief enough times and it becomes reality. The enemy of repetition. But here's the danger. Repetition works both ways. If you constantly repeat negative phrases, I can't, I'm tired, I'm not good enough, those beliefs also take root. Every complaint, every excuse, every whisper of doubt is another stroke of the chisel, carving weakness into your identity. That's why discipline is essential. You cannot afford to let careless words escape your lips. Repetition will magnify them, whether they serve you or destroy you. History's greatest proof. Look at the most influential leaders and achievers in history. Their speeches were not delivered once they were repeated again and again until nations believed. Martin Luther King Jr. I didn't say I have a dream once. He repeated it again and again until those words became immortal. Muhammad Ali didn't whisper, I am the greatest once. He declared it thousands of times until the world believed what he already knew. Advertisers don't show you one commercial and stop. They repeat it endlessly because they know the secret, what you see and hear repeatedly. You eventually accept as truth. Daily ritual of repetition. If you want to master repetition, build it into your daily routine. Here's a simple framework. Morning command. As soon as you wake up, speak 3 declarations out loud. These are the first orders your subconscious receives for the day. Midday reset. Pause halfway through your day. Take 60 seconds to repeat your truth with energy. This refreshes your focus. Evening seal before bed. Repeat the same declarations. These are the last words your subconscious hears before drifting into the powerful state of sleep. In this way, repetition surrounds you like armor. From sunrise to sunset, your subconscious is bathed in certainty. How repetition builds identity. At first, repetition may feel fake. You might think, but I'm not successful yet. Isn't saying it lying to myself. No, you are not lying, you are building. Every time you repeat, you are laying bricks for the identity you are creating. You don't wait until a building is complete before calling it a house. You call it a house even when the first brick is laid, because you know what it is becoming. The same is true for your declarations. Speak them as though they are already real, and through repetition, they will become real. A practical example. Imagine someone who struggles with confidence each morning. They say, I am confident, I am bold, I speak with power. At first, the words feel empty, but after weeks of repetition, something shifts. Their voice grows stronger, their posture improves, their presence changes. Soon, they no longer say, I am confident as a wish, they say it as a fact. The repetition has carved a new belief, and the belief has rewritten reality. The cost of neglecting repetition. Without repetition, even the most powerful truths fade. Motivation without habit dies quickly. Inspiration without repetition becomes forgotten. Think about people who attend a motivational seminar. Leave on fire, but within a week, return to the same patterns. Why? Because they didn't repeat. They let the spark die instead of feeding it daily. You cannot afford to let your spark die. Your destiny depends on feeding it every single day until it becomes a flame that never goes out. Repetition is the sculptor of belief. It shapes your identity, rewires your subconscious, and transforms your destiny. Speak your truth once and it is a spark. Speak it daily with emotion and it becomes unshakable law. So let repetition become your ally. Make it your ritual. Carve your greatness into the stone of your soul until doubt has no place to stand. Because what you repeat, you become. One of the most powerful truths you must understand is this: you will always act in alignment with the identity you believe about yourself, not the one others give you, not the one you sometimes wish for, but the one you claim every single day with your words. Your identity is the silent compass of your life. It determines how you think, what you choose, and how far you'll go. And here's the secret. Most people never realize your identity is not fixed. It is created. It is built, and it is spoken into existence. Why? Identity shapes everything. If you see yourself as weak, you will live weak. If you see yourself as powerful, you will act powerfully. Every thought, every decision, every behavior flows from the picture you hold of yourself. That's why you cannot keep speaking as the person you no longer wish to be. If you continue saying, I'm shy, I'm broke, I'm unlucky, I'm not enough, you are reinforcing chains around your own potential. Your words are building a prison, and your identity is the warden holding the key. But if you shift your language, you shift your life. Start speaking from the identity of the person you are becoming. Say, I am confident, I am wealthy, I am disciplined and powerful. When you claim this identity, your subconscious goes to work aligning your habits, your choices, and even your opportunities with the new version of you. Stop waiting, speak it now. Too many people postpone their greatness with small, timid words. They say, one day I'll be successful, or maybe I'll get there someday. But words like someday and maybe are excuses dressed as hope. They push your destiny further away. Your identity must not live in the future. It must live in the present. Stop saying, I will be successful. Start saying, I am successful. When you declare it in the present, you send a command to your subconscious. Align my actions right now with the person I already am. This creates urgency. It creates power. It transforms your goal from a wish into a non-negotiable reality. Identity is repetition plus emotion. Think of identity as a sculpture. Every time you repeat who you are becoming, you carve another line into the stone. Ade, emotion. And the carving becomes permanent. If you say, I am powerful without feeling, it fades into the air. But if you say, I am powerful with conviction burning in your chest, your voice filled with emotion, it penetrates deep into your subconscious. And with enough repetition, it becomes your truth. A simple exercise to shift identity. Here's a practice you can begin today. 1. Write down 3 I am statements that reflect the person you are becoming. For example, I am a disciplined creator of wealth. I am a confident leader who inspires others. I am unstoppable in the pursuit of my goals. 2. Say them aloud every morning with energy, power, and emotion. Look into the mirror when you say them. Speak not as a wish, but as a command. 3. Repeat them at night so your subconscious hears them as the final message before sleep. Do this daily. And within weeks, you'll notice your behavior, your choices, even your posture begin to reflect these truths. The trap of old identity. But beware of this trap. Your old identity will fight to survive. It will whisper, this isn't you. You've always been lazy. You've always been broke. Who are you to say you're successful? This is nothing more than the echo of your past. You must silence it with authority. The old you has no power unless you keep feeding it with words. Each time you repeat your new identity, you starve the old one until it withers away. Identity creates action. Here's the beauty of identity. Once you truly believe you are someone, action becomes effortless. If you see yourself as an athlete, waking up early to train is natural. If you see yourself as wealthy, saving and investing is second nature. If you see yourself as a leader, speaking with authority flows easily. Action is always the shadow of identity. Change who you believe you are, and your actions will follow without resistance. History proves it. Look at anyone who achieved greatness. They didn't wait for the world to crown them. They spoke it into existence. Muhammad Ali said, I am the greatest, long before the world agreed. He didn't ask for permission. He declared his identity, and the world eventually caught up. Every innovator, every world changer, every wealthy creator began by claiming their new identity long before anyone else saw it. That is how transformation always begins. Your identity is the engine of your destiny. Speak not as the person you used to be, but as the person you are becoming. Replace every weak, timid phrase with powerful declarations of who you are now. Say it, repeat it, feel it, believe it, until your subconscious accepts it as law and your reality has no choice but to obey, because when your words and your identity align, transformation becomes unstoppable. Your tongue is the most powerful weapon you own. With a single phrase, you can build a future of freedom. or you can lock yourself in chains so heavy they will follow you for years. Most people don't realize it, but every careless word is a seed planted in their subconscious, and every seed grows, whether it is one of weakness or one of power, the hidden power of words. We live in a world where people throw around phrases like, I'm broke, I'm tired, I can't do this without even thinking. They believe these words are harmless, just casual expressions of frustration. But the subconscious mind doesn't see them as casual. It records them as commands. Every I can't becomes an order. Every I'll never succeed becomes law. With each word of defeat, you tighten the chains around your potential, slowly, without even realizing it. You are programming yourself for mediocrity. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine replacing every careless word with a deliberate declaration. I will succeed. I am worthy. I am unstoppably. Each of these is also a command, but instead of chains, they are keys. They unlock doors. They set your mind free to create new possibilities. Chains or freedom. The choice is yours. Words are not neutral. They either work for you or against you. When you say, I'll try, you are giving yourself permission to fail. When you say, I will, you are giving yourself a path to victory. This is why Napoleon Hill said, your words are orders to your destiny. You can't serve two masters. You cannot speak strength in one moment and weakness in the next and expect clarity. The subconscious mind does not tolerate confusion. It obeys the strongest, most repeated command. So here is the question. What are you commanding with your words? Are you building chains? Or are you building freedom? How negative words spread like poison. Doubt and defeat always start small. One phrase, one moment of weakness. You wake up and say, I'm tired. You face a challenge and say, this is impossible. You make a mistake and whisper, I'll never get this right. Alone. Each phrase seems harmless, but repeated daily, they become poison. They creep into your belief system. They shape your identity. And eventually, they shape your reality. One careless sentence spoken over and over can ruin an entire life. That is why you must guard your tongue with the same discipline as a soldier guarding the gates of a fortress. The enemy is always looking for a way in, and your own words are the keys that can open the door, turning words into weapons of power. Instead of letting your tongue betray you, train it to serve you. Replace weakness with strength. Replace doubt with faith. Replace fear with certainty. When you feel like saying, I'm tired, speak instead, I am full of energy and power. When you want to say, I can't do this, replace it with, I will find a way. When you're tempted to say, this is too hard, declare, I am stronger than this challenge. At first, this may feel unnatural, but remember, repetition carves belief. Every time you speak words of power, you cut new grooves into your subconscious. Soon, those grooves become highways, and strength becomes your natural response. The ripple effect of your words. Your words don't just affect you, they affect everyone around you. When you speak negativity, you drain the energy of those you love. When you speak strength, you lift them higher. Think about it. How many times have you been inspired by someone's words spoken with certainty and passion? Now imagine becoming that person for your family, your friends, your community. When your tongue speaks life, You don't just change your world, you change the worlds of everyone who hears you. A daily practice to guard your tongue. Here's a practical way to take control today. 1, catch yourself. Every time you hear yourself say something negative, stop. Don't let it pass unnoticed. 2, cancel it out loud and say, cancel that. This tells your subconscious not to accept the command. 3, replace it. Immediately speak a new phrase of power. For example, instead of I'm broke, and say, money flows to me because I create value. Do this consistently, and you will retrain your tongue. Soon, negative words will feel unnatural, and powerful words will flow without effort. Your tongue is not just an instrument of speech, it is the pen writing the story of your life. Every word you speak writes another line. Every declaration builds another chapter. Guard your tongue as if your destiny depends on it, because it does. Never speak weakness. Never annonce defeat. Speak only what empowers, what strengthens, what builds, because in the end, your words will either chain you to mediocrity or liberate you into greatness. The choice is yours. And the choice begins with every phrase that leaves your lips. Words without emotion are like arrows without a bow. They fall flat. They carry no weight. They may sound good for a moment, but they never penetrate deep enough to change you. But when your words are carried by emotion, by conviction, passion, and burning desire, they transform from simple sounds into unstoppable forces. Emotion is the fire that gives words life. Without it, affirmations are hollow. With it, affirmations become law. Why emotion matters. Your subconscious mind doesn't respond to empty phrases. It responds to the intensity behind them. If you say, I am strong with no feeling, it's like tapping on a locked door. Nothing moves. But if you declare, I am strong with every fiber of your being, your subconscious explodes into action, carving that truth into your identity. Emotion bypasses logic. It cuts straight into the heart. That's why one speech, delivered with passion, can move millions, while another speech, filled with perfect words but no emotion, is forgotten the moment it ends. The science of emotion and belief. Here's the science. The subconscious mind learns through 2 channels, repetition and emotion. We've already explored repetition, but emotion is the amplifier. It's what supercharges repetition so that belief is formed faster and stronger. Think about your most vivid memories. They're not random. They are charged with emotion, a victory, a heartbreak, a moment of fear, a burst of joy. Your mind remembers these forever. Why? Because emotion stamped them into your subconscious. The same principle works for your declarations. Add emotion to your affirmations, and you stamp them into your mind with permanent ink. How to ignite emotion in your declarations. So how do you bring fire to your words? 1, use your body, stand tall. Breathe deeply. Put energy into your posture. Your body and mind are connected. When you act strong, you feel strong. 2, raise your voice, speak with intensity. Let your tone rise with certainty. A whisper of doubt has no power, but a roar of conviction can move mountains. 3, visualize as you speak. Don't just say the words, see them, feel them. Imagine the victory already won, the dream already achieved. This fuses emotion to your declaration. 4, attach gratitude, speak as though it has already happened. and thank life for delivering it. Gratitude fills your words with warmth and certainty. Examples of emotional declarations. Don't just say, I am successful. Say, I am successful. I am powerful. I am destined for greatness. And nothing can stop me. Don't just whisper, I am confident. Say, I am confidence. I walk in strength. I speak with authority. I was born to lead. Do you feel the difference? It's not the words, it's the emotion behind them that makes them come alive. Emotion as fuel in hard times. There will be days when your mind feels heavy, when repetition alone doesn't seem to work. This is where emotion becomes your greatest ally. On those days, you must speak with twice the passion. You must shout your declarations until the sound drowns out your doubts. You must bring fire to your words. Because fire burns away fear, remember this when life presses you. Emotion is the force that pushes back. Stories that prove the power of emotion. History is filled with people who spoke their future into existence with emotion. Winston Churchill's words gave an entire nation courage in its darkest hour, not because the words were perfect, but because they carried unshakable emotion. Muhammad Ali's declarations electrified arenas, not because they were new, but because he said them with such passion that the world had no choice but to believe. Great leaders, inventors, and visionaries all spoke their truth with intensity until their words reshaped reality itself, guarding against empty words. But beware, repetition without emotion is dangerous. If you keep repeating phrases like a robot, they lose power. They become routine, like brushing your teeth automatic. But empty, the goal is not to mindlessly chant words, but to breathe life into them every time you say them. If you can't feel them, stop, reset, visualize. At gratitude, then speak again with fire. Emotion is the fire that turns your words into commands. Without it, your declarations are powerless. With it, your declarations become unstoppable. So speak with passion. Speak with conviction. Speak as though the universe itself must bow to your words. Let every phrase vibrate with faith, desire, and certainty until your very soul feels on fire. Because when your words carry emotion, they do more than shape your beliefs, they reshape your reality. Every thought you think and every word you speak is not just noise, it is a broadcast. Your mind is a station constantly transmitting signals into the universe. The frequency you set is the frequency you attract. If you broadcast weakness, you invite weakness. If you broadcast strength, you attract strength. This is not philosophy, it's law. Life responds to the signals you send, and the most powerful transmitter you own is your voice. Your mind as a broadcasting station. Imagine your subconscious as a giant antenna. Every phrase you repeat, every affirmation you declare, every thought you dwell on is sent out like waves into the air. The universe listens, circumstances align, people respond. Opportunities appear or disappear, depending on what frequency you are broadcasting. Most people don't realize this. They think their words are private. They say, I can't do this or I'll never succeed, as if it doesn't matter. But the truth is, their station is broadcasting failure, and life tunes in faithfully. On the other hand, when you declare with certainty, I am powerful, I am wealthy, I am unstoppable, you set your station to the frequency of victory, and life begins to adjust itself to match weak signals versus strong signals. The strength of your broadcast depends on two things: certainty and consistency. Weak signals come from doubt. When you say, "I'll try," or "I hope," your signal is fuzzy. It's like static on a radio. The universe doesn't know what to deliver because your message isn't clear. Strong signals come from authority. When you declare, "It is mine. I will succeed. Nothing can stop me," your broadcast cuts through the noise like a laser. It's sharp. It's undeniable. It commands a response. The world does not respond to weak whispers of uncertainty. It responds to bold, repeated broadcasts of conviction, the frequency of success. Every successful person sets their station to a higher frequency. They think in terms of opportunity, not limitation. They speak in terms of abundance, not scarcity. They declare certainty, not doubt. This is why wealthy, powerful achievers seem to attract success. They aren't lucky. They're broadcasting on the right frequency day after day. They've tuned their mind to victory, and everything in their environment eventually matches that signal. Practical ways to tune your frequency. You can train your mind to broadcast success by creating rituals that reset your frequency daily. 1. Morning tune-up. Begin each day with a declaration of power. Say, "Today I am focused, disciplined, and unstoppable." This sets your broadcast from the start. 2. Midday check-in. Pause at least once to ask, "What frequency am I broadcasting right now? Fear or faith, doubt or certainty?" Then correct it. 3. Evening reset. Before bed, declare the identity you are building. I am wealth. I am power. I am greatness in motion. These rituals ensure you're not broadcasting chaos, but clarity. Examples of broadcasting power. Consider the difference between these two people. Person A wakes up and says, "Life is hard. I'm always unlucky. Nothing ever works for me." Their broadcast is defeat. Soon enough, they find themselves surrounded by more problems, more setbacks, more evidence that life is hard. Person B wakes up and says, "I am in control. Opportunities flow to me. I create my future with discipline and power." Their broadcast is strength, and what happens? They start seeing opportunities where others see problems. They meet people who can open doors. They build momentum. Same world, same conditions, different broadcasts. Guard against static. Be careful. Inconsistency kills your signal. If you declare power in the morning but complain all afternoon, your broadcast is scrambled. The subconscious obeys the strongest and most frequent command, not the occasional burst of positivity. That's why discipline is key. Stay consistent. Guard your tongue. Every word is either strengthening your signal or filling it with static. Emotion supercharges the signal. As we saw before, repetition and emotion amplify your words. When you broadcast with passion, your frequency becomes stronger. A declaration filled with emotion sends out a powerful wave that can't be ignored. Think of it like volume. Whisper your truth, and only you hear it. Shout it with conviction, and the universe hears it loud and clear. Your life is always reflecting the station you are broadcasting. Wake words, weak life. Powerful words, powerful life. So tune your frequency. Cut out static. Eliminate doubt. Declare strength. Broadcast with certainty until the world has no choice but to adjust to your signal. Because when your mind is a broadcasting station of faith, passion, and victory, everything you desire will begin to tune into you. Doubt is not just hesitation. It is poison, silent, invisible, and deadly. It seeps into your mind like a drop of ink in clear water, spreading until everything is clouded. 1 ounce of doubt can cancel a pound of faith. One whisper of "what if I fail" can destroy an entire vision. Faith builds. Doute destroy. Faith opens doors. Doubt slams them shut. Faith creates momentum. Doubt paralyzes. If you do not learn to crush doubt the moment it appears, it will rob you of the future that belongs to you. Why doubt is so dangerous? Unlike failure, which teaches, doubt teaches nothing. Failure gives you feedback. Doubt gives you excuses. Failure builds resilience. Doubt builds paralyzes. Think about it. Failure at least means you tried. You took a step. You learned something. Doubt, on the other hand, kills the journey before it even begins. It convinces you not to start. It whispers, wait until the time is right. Don't aim